Hey, it's Cheryle here from GMIHub Online. So glad that you are with us today. It is going to be a great conversation. It's going to be a different conversation. We had just had a week away from doing an artist showcase. And you know what? The comments we got were amazing. People loved it. It was a great experience. But some people wonder what exactly happens behind the scenes. Like, what do you do to make that event that event? So, you know what? Tonight, that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to bring on our other two hosts, right? I'm going to bring on Dale Borland and Darryl Dueck. We are both going to be, we're all three of us are going to be on tonight. We are all hosts and we are all panelists tonight. How do you like that?
It sounds great to me. But we can't show them what
I gotta turn on my microphone.
Scenes. Okay, we can't really tell them what's going on behind the scenes, can we? Really?
Well, you know what?
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we can't show pictures, but let's give them an idea because you know what they see. There's a little picture of some of the setup that we had before we went live. But the reason why we're talking about this is because I don't think, and I think it's very easy to take for granted what you walk into when you go into any show. You know, think about it.
Right.
If you go to a theater,
Sure.
you see everything perfectly lined up, the lights just right, the curtains are all set, you see everything perfect. But what actually goes behind the scenes? What goes into making that set a set? What goes into making that stage the stage that's going to be where artists are going to be acting or singing or dancing or whatever the case may be? It's so easy to take for granted.
Yeah. So why don't we go, like, before you actually get to the event, there's a lot of work that takes place before we even get to the event, like before we get to the venue. So let's maybe start there. How do you get started? When you get this vision for the event, what takes place between you and Darryl and the concept moving forward? How does it start? What do you do?
There's a lot of conversation between Darryl and myself.
Not at all. Okay, I'm actually going to stop first before we continue on that conversation. And part of what that is this is a conversation is going to have more of a feel of an after the show hanging out with the guys or the crew or the team afterwards, just having a good laugh at some of the mistakes and a good laugh at some of the good stuff that went on. And we might even reflect on some of the shows that we've done over the past few years. But just to realize that that's what this is about. So I went out and I got my Stewart's cream soda. So it feels like I'm sitting around hanging out with the guys, like I would, when I'm out with the guys and they go and grab something to drink. I try and grab a Stewart's root beer, bring it along, or a can of pop. So I've got my stuff. I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm set for the show. So Cheryl's saying she talks a lot when we do this, right, Cheryle?
I'm saying that we talk a lot. I don't know. because as soon as we decide, okay, let's do an artist showcase. Let's go ahead and let's do this live event. The first thing that comes to mind is, okay, what do we want to accomplish with this? What exactly are we wanting to make happen? And one of the things that that Darryl and I have both agreed on is that when we do an artist showcase, we are not going to settle or try to do a showcase that features all one style of gospel music. And the reason for that is because gospel music comes in so many different styles. I mean, there is, Christian rock, there's rap, there's, there's blues, there's jazz, there's all kinds of styles. And we just figure, why not showcase all of it in one night? And then people, people that come, audiences that come, have a little bit of a taste of something that they like one way or the other, or maybe they'll gain an appreciation of something that they normally would not listen to. But then they hear it and go, hey, I think that's not bad. This person or this talent or this sound is very attractive. This is something I can handle now, right? So, and we try to also appeal to all ages. Now, I think our audience is a certain demographic right now, but we're trying to appeal to all ages at this point in time. So we try to cover so much. So Darryl and I literally go through in our minds the list of of who do we have on our list, on our GMIHub list. Now, I know we didn't do our normal spiel. You know, if you're watching, you're here, you're watching GMIHub, and if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe to this channel right here, right now, because this is just one conversation, but there's over 120 other conversations that you can probably glean some golden nuggets that will help you move forward in your career in the music industry. So definitely check that out. Also, if you want to know more about GMIHub, go to gmihub.ca. We try to post as much as we can on there to keep you up to date on what GMIHub is doing. And if you choose to click the join us button, that gets you on our list so that you can not only receive some updates from us, but that allows you to connect with us as well. And if you have events and you have new release coming out, let us know, because we'd love to help promote that with you through our hub happenings and through other means, whether it's through artist showcases, which we're talking about right now. So I just derailed, but I'll come back. Right? Did I do good, Dale? I usually let you do that, Dale, but did I do all right?
You did fantastic.
No derailings allowed here. No derailings allowed here.
No,
we're not going to derail. We're not going to go down rabbit holes. We're not going to change the conversation.
Yes, we are. So just back up. So people who are watching right now, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cheryle.
I was going to say, just going back to that conversation, but people who are watching right now, Dale, go finish your sentence.
Okay. Well, people are watching right now. She gave you a whole bunch of information about what the vision of the event would be and how we're casting out to different genres and different. That sounds like a whole lot of conversations. So let's go back to if you're thinking about putting an event together that has a demographically broad appeal, then you have to think about the artists that are going to be taking part in that event. So how do you start looking for or scoping out for those artists? Now, keeping in mind that if you are a part of the GMIHub, you're going to be one of those people we approach. So that's important to get on that gmihub.ca and get involved right away. Okay, so let's go back to that question. How do you get the artists?
Well, we're fine-tuning our process, but basically, we look at the list that we have currently, and we go through that list, and we're at the point right now where we are actually trying to understand who we have on our list and what their styles are, what their music is, and doing that bit of research. But I really appreciate it when artists do reach out and say, hey, I have this song, or hey, I've been watching your events and I would love to be a part of it sometime if you'd like to consider me. And I love that, because then what happens is I encourage them to not only sign up to get on our list, but I also say, send us a link with your music, send us some information about you. Or if we don't have the information that we're able to contact them, hey, let's sit down on a Zoom call so we can get to know you a little bit better and understand what you want to get out of this, and also what your style is, and maybe who your audience is, and so forth, so that we can build a win-win relationship here with the artist showcase and the artists themselves. So that's kind of a process.
The process, go ahead.
Okay. So that's kind of the process that we're still a little rough. We're still trying to fine tune the process, but our whole goal rough in the end. It's very
but you know what? It's funny though you're saying that, but I think there's it seems like you've put a lot of responsibility on ourselves, and we have. It's been you mostly making those contacts, but I want to challenge the artists out there that are maybe take a look at what we're doing on our YouTube channel and see what there occasionally we'll have showcases up that are posted. Check them out, scope them out for yourself, and take that step of contacting us. We would love to hear from you. Send us some of your music. If you have a video that you have, let us have the link. We want to really connect with you and join you in this journey. And so if we could both be doing that, we would probably have a lot more opportunities to have you guys perform.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
What's really unique. What? Not absolutely?
Okay, I'll jump in. No, I was going absolutely. But what I was going to say, though, is I'm amazed at how many times we've reached out to bands. We don't get responses. We don't get replies. I think there's some other stuff, the way that stuff is handled, we'll maybe touch a little bit later on. But it's like,
we will,
send us. But get back. Even if you're a month late, get back to us. I'd rather have you a month later, then we can maybe look at doing something else later on. We can do
Absolutely.
that. For us, the big thing that we're wanting to, though, is we want to see that you have something recorded. We want to see that you're doing stuff on YouTube. I personally will always tell Cheryle, I need to see them playing more than 1 gig live. I don't want to say unedited,
Right. I know what you're saying.
Microphone. I don't want somebody going and putting it in the studio. If you're sending me stuff in the studio, that doesn't tell me what you're like. Because we've seen guys, they've sent us stuff, and we've seen them without them knowing us, and they've sent us stuff, and we're going, hey, you're great on your albums, but your vocals in live situations, and we've seen them more than enough and we've been around the industry long enough, we can pretty much guess that you need some work on your live vocals. And it's hard to say that, but that means you might not get a headlining position, but you might get something as a support or an opening group. And the other thing I'll say is, I don't care where you're from, we can stream you in. Thanks to COVID, it moved us up 3 years from what our plans were. We were planning to do something. Yeah, we were not planning on streaming until probably even looking at streaming until this year, and then COVID rears its head, and we were streaming within the first year, which was not what we were wanting to do.
Well, it's not, but we have now got no boundaries as far as to where you are. If you live in Timbuktu, we still can get you on our show, and it's been a great opportunity, I think, because we've been to the Philippines, we've been everywhere in America, and down and even in some of our broadcasts, not the showcases, but we've been to the UK, and there's opportunities that that avail us now. So you have no excuses.
That's right. That's right. I was about to go down that route too, but I'm glad you guys did that. That's awesome.
So
and that's true.
We're talking about getting an event started. Sorry, let's go backtrack a little bit, because I wanted to get back to how you contact artists, and I want to lean into this a bit, because you were talking about how you find artists, but also artists can find us. But what about the next piece of that pie?
Well, I was also going to say this. It was already mentioned about headlining artists. Now, when we first started this, our very first artist showcase, there was no headliner, really.
Right.
What we really did was just said we wanted to get, 5 or 6 artists, have them share 2 songs each, and in the middle of it, we'll interview them a little bit. So it's sort of like a songwriter circle kind of
Savage. It's a savage.
Yeah. But that's literally how we started, and that's literally what we were thinking about and doing that. And that, the first time we did it, which was back in May, it worked out really well. The second time we tried to do that, I think we had some issues, and we'll get into that, like technical issues. So we couldn't get all the people we wanted on there, but nonetheless, we had some great artists that were able to step up and give us more than what we were expecting. And it ended up still being a pretty good, like a good event for those that were present. So that was awesome. But the headlining thing didn't even turn up until we got a phone call from some touring artists that said, hey, we are touring. We're going to be in your area in October, and we want to do something with you. We've been watching you guys. You've been doing stuff. We like what you're doing. We want to support you. We want to do something with you. That just over the moon when I heard that. I was like, wow, and they're not even in Ontario. They're in other parts of Canada. This is awesome. So
they're each from a different they were each from a different part of Canada.
That's true.
That's right.
Which is actually even funnier.
One was from the west, one was from the east.
Yeah.
And of course, and we were absolutely thrilled when we got that phone call, and we got excited. So that took us on a whole different level of how do we do artist showcase, because with them traveling that distance, saying, oh, thank you for coming that distance, now sing your 2 little songs and sing your 2 little songs, that would just be insulting. So we said, you know what, let them come. They're already doing a tour of concerts, so we let them do a concert after our typical artist showcase. So it extended our time, but it gave people something else. Now there was a concert. Now there was something bigger and better to look forward to. So that was a whole that was the act. And then when we were finished that experience, we sat back, and of course, like Darryl and I, we do a lot of talking. One of us sometimes more to try and see, what worked about this, what was really good about this, and what could we have done to do. And then, and if it was really good, like the headlining thing, really stuck with us. And so, Darryl of the two of us, Darryl's the one that has the bigger ideas. So, he was thinking about it, contemplating, and then he blurted out, you know what?
Nope, not at
We
all.
need to have, oh, come on. we need to have, we need to continue with headlining acts. And here's,
you just got a big head. That's all. That's what it is. You got a big head.
but why do we need to, but here's the reason why did we have to start going to headlining acts? We started doing that because one of the things that we've been doing up until that point was we were always concentrating on the artists that are up and coming, that don't get the opportunities, and we still want to cater to those artists. We really do.
Yeah.
But there are other artists that are more established, and with COVID, to be honest with you, COVID put us all on the same plane. When COVID hit, even those that were well established were trying to find places to play or to showcase what they were doing, right? So
Very
COVID
true.
really leveled the ground, leveled the playing levels for everybody. And now those are artists that are saying, hey, if there's opportunities for me to play, even if I have to stay in my home in another part of the world, but I'm able to still participate in some ways, I'll take it, right? So we opened that up a little bit more. Now, when we have headlining acts, because it's a hybrid event, which means we have people that are playing live at the location that we are so thankful for. There's a church that has opened up their building towards us, and we are so thankful for this family, this church family.
I don't think that there's too many churches that would allow us to do what we do in their building.
No.
Thank you.
That's true.
Phenomenal.
That is true.
Absolutely.
So we thank you. I'll mention the name, Mississauga City Baptist Church. We thank you so much for opening your home. Yeah, I say your home because I know the first words when we first came to your church building to set up for our very first live event, you basically said, make yourself at home. Here's the kitchen. Of course, there's me, the kitchen, right? So, and that's exactly what we did. We felt welcome there. And anyway, I digress again, but I forgot what I was going to say now. So say something.
We're trying to talk about the artists. We're trying to when you're trying to get these artists to come to perform for your event. And I think that the one thing that Cheryle's able to do is have a relationship in a way that makes them realize that the event's not about us. It's not about GMIHub. Matter of fact, it's about the experience that the artists have and the audience. And we were trying to give an opportunity or a platform, for lack of a better term, for the artist and the audience to enjoy something that's in some ways it's not a huge event. I mean, it's not a 18,000 seat arena. It's we've got a couple hundred people, and it's intimate, it's nice, and I think that the artists themselves, I've never heard an artist come away from one of our GMIHub events with a negative opinion. They always have a positive opinion, all of them, because I think it's because Cheryle and Darryl and myself, we try our best to make it a casual place, a place that's something that you just do. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to just talk to you and get to know you more. So that's probably really what makes our events a little different, I think.
It does.
It's true. We don't do the event. What was that, Cheryl?
I just remembered what I was going to say about. I was continuing along the vein of artists that are well established. The headlining concept now opens the door for people who are well established to now be a part of our events, and it fulfills one of our mantras, which is about mentoring. It allows people who are established to mentor, so to speak, those who are maybe not as established, and it fosters that relationship. So
Yep.
that is one of the reasons
Agreed.
why we have headlining.
All right.
But
So
sorry about
Darryl, you
that.
were going on. No, that was perfect, Cheryle.
Thank you.
Well, I was going to
Okay,
say,
Darryl, go.
it's about me. I get to speak for a change?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So the
For a
event is
change,
not
what?
put on for a change. Yes. For those who don't know, I'm actually really, really quiet when you get to know me.
Yeah.
Say what?
Right. Sure. This is Darryl. This is anybody else.
You were saying, Darryl.
Yes.
All right.
If we were wanting to do a show for ourselves, we would be up on the stage all the time. I'd make an excuse for me to be up on stage doing something, or getting Cheryle up on stage, or Darryl up on stage, and I'd be doing a heck of a lot of other stuff on the tech wise that would make life so much easier for me, and just to make it all about me. Not to mention, hey, yeah, I got a whack of gear involved on that, but it's not about us. When you see what we all go through, it's not about us. It's definitely not about us. Yeah. So I'll leave it.
No, it's very true.
Us. It's about the musician and the audience.
Right, exactly. It's like we talking about, Cheryle and I were, well, actually, we were just talking about this earlier, but it's a win-win. We want the experience of the audience and the artist to be a win-win situation. And I think that if we go into a bit more about what Cheryle has to do as far as the relationship between the artist as far as booking is concerned, let's talk a bit about the conversations you might have, or maybe that point of where the artist is like ready to come and do an event. How does that work, the conversations you're having? You talked about doing a little sit down on Zoom. That's something that the artist, is really something you should consider, is take some time to get to know us, because we want a relationship with you. So, yeah.
So the conversation, I guess the conversation with the artist can go in several different directions, just depending on the artist and
who's doing the interview.
And who's
because if I talk to them, it's very much, hey, we got a date. Are you interested in coming and playing or being on our show? That's the way I do it, and it's amazing how many people say yes. And if that doesn't work, Cheryle goes and does this big long paragraph stuff, and they'll answer to her, but not to me. And so we laugh about that. If she tries to get somebody, she says, Darryl, can you please try and get them? And like 3 words, I need to talk to you. And they reply, and they say, okay, Cheryle, here, Cheryle.
So you're trying to say that Cheryl's kind of like the soft touch, and you're the hard sale. So, okay, I get it.
Good cop, bad
he
cop.
says I'm too...
Bad cop.
Darryl's more direct. He goes, don't beat around the bush about this. Just ask them, here's the date. This is what we want to do. Are you available? Yes or no? Right? And that's pretty much it. With me, I'm going, here I am. Okay. This is my name. This is who I represent. And we're trying to do this. And if you're available, we would love to have you be a part of it. And it's like this big, long spiel I end up doing. And it's true. A lot of times people who look at what I write go, I don't have time for this. Probably say that they don't have time for this. And they leave. And then Darryl goes, okay, let me try. This date, this time, be on our show, available, and yes or no. And then they go, oh, okay, yes.
All right. Okay, well, let's shift gears a little bit here. Let's shift gears. Okay, I'm just realizing, guys, it's like 27 minutes past, and we've been talking for quite a while. It's great conversation, but okay, let's talk about the artist. Now that we kind of got the artist, when they're coming into this situation, Darryl, managing your expectations. So let's talk about that a little bit as we're moving into this transition, talking about the artists. Okay, first of all, we talked about when they come into an event, they have experiences, perhaps, or maybe they don't. So how do you deal with an artist who comes in, maybe they're really raw, or maybe they've got lots of experience?
How do I deal with that? A lot of the times I do go, oh, Cheryle, can you please just do the little email and just follow up with them right now, and just to give a list of what we're going to do, where we're going to go?
Right.
Usually right off the bat, when we say that they're doing 2 songs, 1 song and interview and another song, it changes things really, really quick. Especially if they're opening, if you're streaming in, we've actually told them, try and think of it like you're in a concert. Yes, you're at home, but think of it you're in a concert. Try and do something in your background so it doesn't look like you're sitting like this in front of the screen going, hey, I'm gonna do my thing. It doesn't do really well. Sometimes it's good for a little bit of attention. Hopefully I got someone's attention there, but it's not. So the managing the expectations is when we get farther into the night, when we're starting to talk to the guys who've been on stage and are accustomed to the stage, because first off, they're going to go, even before expectation of whether the stage is and what's going on for the night, they're going, is there compensation? That's a whole different other conversation that I don't think we'll touch at all tonight. It is an interesting conversation. So the moment that happens, there's already an expectation set up, because some guys are going, yeah, it's just, and we try and keep a lot of it very simple with acoustic guitar and a singer, or a piano and a singer, or simple, because if we're bringing a headliner or a bigger group, we're running very volunteer based for a lot of stuff.
Right.
Yes, I've got guys I work with who are coming in, giving me sweet deals, because people don't realize when we step into the building, when the show starts, we've already done a 12-hour day from when we've stepped on site. So let me say that again. If we show up at 7 in the morning, we work till 7 p.m. before the event starts. That's 12 hours. If the event's 2 to 3 hours, and then we have a 2 to 4 hours out afterwards. So we're looking at 16 to 20-hour days before we even talk about our transportation, getting to and from the gig or for work that day. So managing expectations. I'm letting these guys who are coming in to work with us to be the bands. It's a long day for us. We are bringing in video walls. We are bringing in a full lighting rig with movers. We are having a larger than life PA for most situations that most of these guys would ever be in, unless they're playing in a large church.
Yes, it's true.
We are not trying, and we're not trying to do a church show. We're not trying to do a church show. We're wanting this to be equal to what people would go and spend $25, $50, $60, $80 at. That's the way we're coming at that. So when we're booking guys for later on the nights, we are saying we're wanting to put on a show. This is a show.
Right.
Bring it.
And then the artist has to also, realizing their expectations, they have to come in with a servant's heart, I think, to understand that when you come into a venue, that you're there to do your part. Like you and Cheryle and I, we're there. We're not there to be the show. We're there to help make the show happen. And if this artist comes in with the right attitude, I think that their experience will be better. But we're talking about managing your expectations. If you have a band or you have backing tracks, you need to have that front end loaded with people like Darryl and Cheryle. So that conversation will have prior to, of course. But coming in with that expectation is also something you need to be setting yourself up for.
Well, that jumps into the whole part of the riders. What do you want? What do you need? Right?
True.
Like, there's the whole joke with, I can't even remember which band, but there's a few bands going, we don't want blue Smarties in or blue M&Ms in our jar, and we want 4 pounds of M&Ms, and we don't want anything blue or yellow or whatever in there. And the whole purpose of that is to see if they've done their due diligence, because if that's all been taken care of, they know that everything else is going to be taken care of for that night too. So we do ask for some type of a rider or preferences on tech. So one guy actually gave me a layout of what he was wanting, and I'll throw that up here quickly for you. It's not going to be that big, but it's something you can see. He's given us the drums are at the back of the stage. He wants some percussion and a backup singer, guitar, bass, keyboard, and he actually said who was singing, who wasn't, and he gave that out about 3-4 weeks out, and again about a week and a half out, he changed it a wee bit on us, which is fine. It's more than enough. But that helps.
Yeah.
That really
It
helps.
does.
And then,
those.
and then there's
let's
we're
call it-
wanting to play lyrics. We got video tracks that we're
Right.
wanting to play. All huge stuff. And now, if he
Right.
comes in the day of and tells us, I got to stop swinging around here. If he comes in and tells us the day of, hey, I want my lyrics up on the screen, and I want my videos up on this screen, and I'm wanting to do, not going to happen. Not with, there's too much going on. Way too much going on.
Right.
Even I've actually had guys, I was doing, side note here, doing a show last summer, and somebody came up and said, all I'm adding is 3 vocal microphones and 2 horns. I said, absolutely not. And they said, where do I get what I want? On the rider that you were supposed to send the organization a week ago. So they went and ran to the organizer and said, well, they get what's up on stage. I can't do anything else because we're all loaded up. We've got 32 inputs loaded. That's right. You got to share. So this, managing their expectations. These guys would come in. It was a big stage, big PA, but their expectations were they could get what they wanted, and they couldn't because the turnaround time wasn't there. And that's the thing that we have to tell these guys. We only give you, between the acts, realistically, it's maybe 5 minutes. So on and off. Yeah. So I'll say this to all bands, and this is what happens when you start playing. If you get into a festival gig, and I know there's guys who do festivals or would like to, hey, how do we get into the Rib Fest? When you're done, I've seen techs throw drum kits off stage because they weren't moving. Well, that's my drum kit. Well, the band's on stage. You're taking away their time. Get on, get off. Get on, get off. You can talk off the stage. Even last night, I was taking down a video wall. We waited for 45 minutes because the band wouldn't get off the stage. That's not cool.
No,
anyways, whole little side note.
Right.
Expectations.
Now, if we're talking about manage your expectations, whenever you're, depending on what level you're at as a performer, what about considering your own sound gear, your own sound man, whatever?
What would I do? If you're not gigging, okay, if you're a person like Cheryle who sings the track and you're wanting gigs, karaoke it. As much as everybody laughs at karaoke, it gets you in front of people, gets you to learn how to interact. You'll be accustomed to people lying to you on how good you are until you actually hear yourself.
No, but you've got a point. You got to stretch your legs. You have that opportunity to do stuff, and that's
you've got the opportunity. And if you screw up, hey, you're at karaoke. You had a bad day. You can get away with that.
Right. Yeah.
If you're a singer, songwriter, guitarist, you've got the open mics all over the place.
True.
All over the place. If you're a band, it makes it pretty hard. Makes it really hard. They're not going to pay you unless you're going to accept probably beverages. And to get into that, you're going to need to probably know somebody or been playing in another band that you've made those. And then question is, what type of band are you? Where are you playing? Are you playing in a bar? Are you playing in a restaurant? Are you a jazz trio? Can you go in there with your vocal, a guitarist, and a cajon or djembe or something like that? That's And you do that. Yes, you're missing the whole massive big band feel of pounding away on drums at a concert and a ticketed event. But if you're like that 21 age,
you're paying your dues, right? You're paying your dues.
You're paying your dues.
That's, I think that has to, like, I don't know. I've been through it. Cheryle's been through it. Darryl, you've been through it too, because I know you've done events for years. So it's like you get to a point where you say, okay, I can manage my expectations because I know what it's been like. I know I've sat in front of 2 people and performed in my band. I've done that.
Yep.
So I understand what it's like to go through the mill, try to figure this out, and say, do I really want to do this? So then the commitment to the art becomes the priority, not so much the performance and being a rock star.
Yeah. So going back to, you asked the question about when you should bring a sound guy and get your own PA. This is going to sound bad. I'm sure some of my tech guys would probably disagree with me. if you're just starting out, like if you're in that high school, college age, just getting going, and it's your first few shows, some guys would say take somebody along to look out for you. Don't go into eyes cold or eyes wide open and watch what's all going on and learn and do that for a few shows so you know what it's like to have the grumpy audio guy who's pretending he's turning knobs on you and he's doing nothing, or you're getting the SM58 that still has the lipstick on it from pre-COVID time, and it hasn't been cleaned, and you got to use that, and it sounds horrible, and you've got speakers that are blown up.
Right.
It's miserable doing that. But when you start playing on shows, or when you're actually gigging enough, and it's like, maybe we should buy your own gear. Well, how many places would you actually play where you need your own gear? Right? If you're playing a lot of backyard stuff, okay, great, but what are you going to get? You know, there's that whole little story: buy once, or buy twice, cry once, or buy once, cry once. Kind of buy it once, you buy it properly, get good gear. But are you going to make your money off that? Are you going to make your 2, 3, 4, 5%? How many shows are you going to have to do by spending $10,000?
Exactly. Not a good point, but also like renting is probably a good idea, but I wouldn't even put that on the artist. I would, think about
unless you're doing a backyard show for mom and dad or some a good friend's birthday. 90% of the stuff you're doing. If you're a vocalist, buy a 50. I wouldn't even buy a 58. There's so many other good. Sennheiser makes a way better microphone. I love Lewitt. That's the first thing I throw out there. I won't even get into it. Massive sound difference, and it sounds really good. And you know what? It's not covered in somebody else's spit and lipstick. That's gross.
No. If you're a vocalist, I would recommend you get your own mic, absolutely, and just take that with you. But I mean, pay your dues, have fun, learn, and move forward. I agree with that.
If you're a drummer, if you're a drummer, be accustomed to use whatever the drum kit is.
Sure.
Just go, I'll use whatever drum. Find out what the drum kit is. I've seen some pretty funny scenarios of different drum kits. Everything from literally the Sears out of catalog drum kit, watching a good gospel band walking in, going, really? To somebody's $7,000 shells and pasty brand new spanking new cymbals, and guys are just
gold-plated rims. I've seen this. It's crazy.
And guys like me jumping off of them or on them if I was to be. Don't do that unless you have permission. But use what's there. Because usually if it's a half decent sized thing, they'll have a half decent kit. If you don't like what's there, bring your hats, bring your snare, bring your kick pedal. Bring your sticks and a tuning lug if you don't like the sound of the tune.
Right. I mean, you can have those things on hand. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. You were asking about the set. You asked about sound guy. When you start gigging a couple times a month, even if it's just a vocalist, and you're past the karaoke, you're past the singer-songwriter open mic, and you're actually starting doing gigs, having another guy there who's going to watch your back is huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I do it with Cheryle it happens with Cheryle all the time when she goes into churches. The amount of times I walk into a church and she goes, so how's it going? I'm going, I just passed him your CD because there's no way I'm going to get on that. So we just have to be extremely nice, and we'll go get the coffee for them. And just, they're the type of people that will not share and play nicely. Whereas other places I walk in, they see me going, all right, we got to take a break and you can do the service. No, I'm not doing your service, dude. But they like it when somebody comes over and takes care of that artist because there's no issues there.
Right.
And sometimes it's just like, okay, Cheryl, where's your jacket? Where's your purse? Where's your CDs? Do you have food? Do you have water? Do you have your tea? All that stuff is hugely important for the artist. But you need to start gigging to get into a position like that.
Yeah, true. Now, on the day of the event, let's talk about that for a second. Cheryle, there's a lot going on behind the scenes during the event. So take us through what, for the artist experience, you have put together during the event.
So you talked about experience, and the experience begins actually when they do walk in. When they walk in, um, that's where the experience begins. They need to see that we had things set up for them, even if it's as simple as if they have a merch table, we've got your tables and chairs set up and pick a table, good kind of idea. Um, but the other thing that I'm well known for now is craft services. And all you tech guys that might be watching, yes, I still have slow cookers ready for you guys. So, but generally speaking, for every artist that comes, and even for the tech staff, like you just heard from Darryl, like the tech crew works 12 hours. They're there 7 in the morning on site to just get, not just get, but to get things set up, from getting their video world set up to the streaming world set up to getting speakers on there to getting the wall up, setting truss up, um, getting the microphones in place. I mean, I'm making it sound small and quick, but generally speaking, it's hours and hours and hours of work. And then when things get set up, then it's making sure everything works, right? So then that's a whole thing that they go through. But while they're through all that, I am basically at another part of the building getting craft services ready. And what craft services simply means is no, I'm not buying, macaroni and cheese and sticking it on a table for people. I'm literally
Mm.
presenting a
She's
meal.
counting. She's taking out the blue
It's
M&Ms.
she absolutely is. I tell you, you have no idea. It's like a smorgasbord of food. It's amazing. Like roast
so
pork, roast
so
beef. It's just amazing.
basically it's set of slow cookers. I do take advantage of slow cookers, and the reason for that is because I know that once the food is on there, I don't have to watch it. I know it's there, it's cooking, and by the time it's done, there's a whole meal that's available for those artists and for the tech that have been working. And to be honest with you, when I first started doing this, I just used it more as a way of making sure that my family had food, but then also taking into account that, hey, there are other people that are coming. Let's make sure there's enough food for them too. And, then it kind of grew. So even this last event, I mean, I'm going to go back to the managing expectations, and I'm going to use a word that I learned just late last year, advancing. And the person who taught me that will hopefully be very proud of me for using that word. But advancing is literally having those conversations before the artist gets on site, on based on things on who are they planning to bring, or what are they planning to bring in terms of, are they just using a track, and what device are they putting it on, or are they bringing a band, and how many people? And then the other side of it is, what are you guys, as in what is GMIHub providing for the artist? Well, we say when you're on site, we will be providing a table and chair for your merchandise. We'll also be providing food will be on site. Now when I say food, a number of people think, oh yeah, okay, that's very nice, you're going to bring food. We'll expect the pizza to show up any minute.
No,
A
no,
pizza
guys,
pizza
you have
and
Little
the
no
meals and
wrap that
idea.
we
sandwiches.
get from the and
We're
sandwiches.
talking
No,
like potato. We're talking potato. We got like vegetables. We got like meat, and we got like salad, and it's just hello. It's amazing.
and people are actually surprised by that. But I think I was saying this yesterday. I think between my sister, who has the gift of hospitality, as well as my mother-in-law, who has the gift of hospitality, they both downloaded onto me. So now I'm learning
Mhm.
hospitality, right? And so um and why do I want to treat people this nicely? Because you know what? If they're treated nicely, they will do their best. If I give my best and I invest my
Mhm.
best into them, even if it's as simple as giving them a hot meal when they come in, or at least offering it. If they choose to say no, they say no, right? But at least if I say it's there, and if you are hungry, or if you want to have this, it's available to you. It's a way of saying, you know what, I'm here to take care of you, because you're going to be doing something for us. We want to give you a
Mhm.
win, so that when you're energized and you feel like I've been full and I'm happy, then you're going to give your best when you go out there and use your gifts for the audience to enjoy. The same with the tech side. The tech guys are not on front of the stage, but you see the result of what they do. You see the lights going.
Yep.
You hear the sound. You know things are happening behind the scenes. And as they say, if they are, they don't like being called out, because if they're called out, they're basically going, okay, something went wrong. What went wrong? Because that's the only time guys behind the scenes are heard and talked about. But I shout them out saying, awesome job to them. And I shout them out beforehand by saying, here, let's get some food, because we know you've worked 12 hours. We know that I know that actually after I let these guys in and leave to go do something else and come back, they're waiting for lunch. And again, they're used to, okay, like as long as you have some wraps, or you have some, or order some food and you have it in little dishes for us, we're fine with that.
You also got them pineapple juice.
Okay, the story with the pineapple juice. Okay. So I go to, we're not sponsored by them, but I go to the wholesale club, not the wholesale club, the Costco wholesale club. And yes, Costco's, thank you. And they offer pineapple juice, 1 liter things of 1 liter cartons of pineapple juice, but in sets of 6. I bought it because I know my husband loves pineapple juice. He just loves drinking that. And I just left it in my truck. And I said, okay, well, it's here along with, according to the advancing, I had to make sure that there was enough pop and water and beverages for the people as well. So I made sure I had that there, and there was the pineapple juice. So I thought, well, we have plastic cups, little cups, so we can, they can take it out, they'll pour into their cups and they'll all drink. There should be enough for people. Like there should be enough for 20 people to have this juice. Well, I went away. I came back and found out 3 cartons were gone. I thought that they were really thirsty and they really, really enjoyed pouring it into these cups. Little did I know, they grabbed the whole liter. One person would grab a whole liter and go, this is mine. So 3 people were chug-a-lugging their own liter of pineapple juice.
They worked really hard, Cheryle. What can we say?
And you know what? I get a kick out of it. I think it's hilarious, but it just tells me if I ever buy pineapple juice, make sure there's 20 cartons of it so that each one can have their own liter.
Yeah. Now,
the guys were actually debating, should they grab another one in case they ran out throughout the night, and then all of a sudden there's later on there's a couple more whole cartons I'm seeing sitting around throughout the building. It's like, wow, they're drinking a liter of pineapple juice.
That's awesome. Okay, so
it was a lesson learned.
Yeah, let's backtrack a little bit, because you've got amazing tech guys. So I want to know, how does it go about that you can find these guys? How do you find this team? These guys are like incredible. You value that person and the job they do, and how do you find them?
Well, just for you, Darryl, I go into this little app called Tech Guys, and I scroll right if I like them. No.
Yeah, I'll make sure the guys know that next time I see them.
Well, with I'll call it my main guy, my video guy. I've actually worked with him for probably a good 15 years. And so he's been over at our house. It's almost like a family situation where Cheryle really got him one time. He was over here, and Cheryle just fed him really well, and that's that covered that. But he's actually gotten. He was probably one of the first guys that got onto the bandwagon of what we were doing, and he came over one day and basically asked Cheryle a simple question: if you did it for one person, are you happy with that? I believe that's the question, or roughly the question. And Cheryle goes, yes. And he goes, good, I'm in. And he has been. Like, we're out doing these massive festivals, and he's going, guys, you should see what they're doing with this jam thingy, with music and people. And it's awesome. I'm involved. So we've had him almost from the beginning on the tech side, trying to get us do stuff, and we've been following a lot of his advice, or at least heeding to it and implementing it. Took us a while to get into the vMix, but we're using vMix. The audio guy that we're using is a high-end audio guy for a lot of the festivals and concerts and corporate gigs. And we're working on shows all the time together. So if I'm not working with Nick on video, Warren's probably working with Nick on an audio gig somewhere, or I'm doing video and Warren's there. So there's a lot of the interaction already. So whether there's a lot of, I know what he's going to do. And because we work so well together, it makes it much easier going, hey, man, this is what my budget is. And this is the length of the day. And yes, you will get food. I didn't say you'll get a lot of time to eat the food, but you'll get food. And they've known me because, again, I've worked with these guys for years. They know that if I say something, it's going to be pretty close to that. And so they've been working with me on the back end and trying to get me out from spending a lot of time doing the show myself in managing what is all going on with the show so that we can actually make the show better and move it on. Our camera guy is a young guy I met when I was
Sorry, I was about to get to that.
a young guy who, so it's a young guy I met at a church, and he was willing to do some stuff. So I'm just spending time with him. It's part of the mentorship, unity, unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth. And so we're spending time with this young guy, and it's interesting. It's all good, right? You've got people who all love to be part of it, and away we go.
And don't forget the youngest.
Well,
don't forget the youngest member of your team.
So there is a younger one, and that's my boy. That's our oldest boy. It's actually Cheryle, we've had him on stage now 2 times in a row.
That's right.
Did you actually realize he's actually on stage? But he's running tech stuff on stage for us.
We have another guy who I admire, and he's the light technician.
Oh, that's right, Michael.
Michael.
How do I forget Mike?
Yes.
He's not hanging.
He's amazing. I mean, all the team is great, but Michael.
Again, he's another guy that we work with. He's another guy that I work with, and I just say, hey, here's our budget. And well, the first time it's like I said, you've got 2 circuits for your lights, and he goes, yeah. Comes in, he goes, I need a tag into. I need 3 circuits. And go, I can only give you 2. The church only has room, and we're pulling all throughout the building as it is. So he goes, well, okay, I'll make it work. I'll make it work. And he plugs in about 5 minutes before show starts and blows the breakers. So he
stepped up. He did. He went down to the kitchen. He went down to the kitchen, pulled the stove plug.
We did that for this one. We got stove plugs out, and now if he blows breakers, that's all on him. He'll get mocked because, again, all my tech crew, we all bump into him, and he's well known across Toronto, so he would get mocked royally if he blew the stove breaker for just his lights.
Yeah.
He won't be doing that. I'll say that one.
All those guys you just talked about are really talented at what they do. So putting an event together that we would do might be a little bit more of an expensive deal than, let's say, the average artist. So let's bring the reins back a little bit. What could that practically look like if you were trying to put a show together with very little budget?
A lot of time.
No matter what, it's all time. It's all time.
Yeah. So do your research. Make sure that you want to make sure that the venue has what you need. You don't need to bring more than the venue has. As a matter of fact, I would, like Darryl said earlier, look at what the venue has and kind of roll with it. And then if things go not the way you planned, that's okay, because you're learning the ropes. You're moving forward.
Most times when you're outside of a church setting, most venues have what is usually sufficient. And I'll put that in quotes, sufficient for the gig. Outdoors, that's a little bit different. But again, you got to manage your expectations. And usually there's not a startup, so you can go back, especially nowadays, you can look through Facebook and YouTube and see what's been going on with their shows and know what you're getting before you walk in.
True.
Managing your shows. Could we get away with what the church has where we're at? Yeah, but again, part of what we're trying to do is put people into the situation of where everybody wants to be or starting to get going. We actually had, I was just quickly reading at one point, we have a guy from Nashville who's saying, and that's why you come down to Nashville. Not sound mean, I think it's James. Yeah, James. Toronto is bigger than Nashville. Why can we not do that up here? We should be able to do that all the time up here.
Yeah.
And so we're actually that's what part of the purpose is. If my company that I'm involved with didn't own the gear, there's no way we'd be doing what we're doing. Absolutely not. But God's blessed us, and this is all about getting the people for a show to help them grow and do other shows.
Yes, exactly.
And I'm going to go a whole different rabbit hole. I'm going to bite on this one for a little bit. It's sad that when we have guys like Manic Drive who live in the States all year round, they're headlining shows and putting 5, 6, 7, 8,000 people into festivals. And we talked to them a year and a half ago about doing a show for us for somebody else. They gave us a phenomenal price, and they said the sad part is nobody up here in Canada knows who we are.
Mm.
And we're talking to what we would classify as who the Canadian headliners are that are living up in Canada. They have a hard time putting butts in seats.
Yeah.
And we and for this it's like we're in a promoter stage, in a promoter situation, and we're seeing it. We're spending loads of money on advertising and getting Facebook, and we got more people who are starting to help us out. And it's like, where is everybody? $15 is too much to come and see up and coming artists. How about 25 guys who've been nominated for Grammys and Junos and winning Junos and the GMA award here in Canada? It's like these guys are huge time musicians, and we can't get them to come out. But yet you're gonna spend $150 to go watch a band for a night for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's sorry, I'm jumping on a little pet peeve here, but that's part of why we're bringing in, trying to get some of these headliners in, is we're trying to give them a different audience. And you asked a question earlier about mixing the different styles. Well, how else do you get new people by not going into an area where nobody knows you? So when we can have a high-end vocal praise and worship guy right from his core and his being can sit in there and open or be the support act for a band that's not in this, I don't want to say caliber, but different levels, but they have a Rolling Stone sound, they put on a great show. They would never, ever bump into each other at a show unless it was a festival set sitting, and they're probably nowhere near at each other's times.
Right, they wouldn't be on the same stage. Right, they'd be a totally different situation.
Slam them side, we stick them side by side so they have to bump into each other going on and off the stage. And we do that through all the different styles. It's a hardcore purpose. And talking with them afterwards, they're going, I love that guy's stuff. I'm not saying I'll put the first thing I put on, but now they're talking to each other and having conversations.
Exactly. And that's
so
why I think
opens up the door.
Right, and I think that's why the live experience, whenever you do an event with the GMIHub, I understand that sometimes you're somewhere where you can't make it to the venue. But really, the benefits being in the actual building far surpass the time you took to get there. I'm telling you, it really makes a difference. You live in person, the whole experience, it adds to your toolbox, literally, and it also helps the event. And after you're done, you got conversations, you got people, new relationships. You can't beat it. You really can't.
Now, some people, I'm going to jump
everybody brings two people.
That's right. All you do is bring people.
You know what? I'm going to jump in on one thing. Some people may watch this and they may say, you know, you're meeting at a church, you're doing this show with the lights and the sound and the smoke machine or whatever the case may be. And, you know, how can you be doing this sort of thing, you know, and say you're doing it for Christians?
Easy, you push a button, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, though. That button.
but I do want to say this: the reality, and I'm going to be very frank about this. The reality is, the people who are probably saying that are probably the same people that would spend the hundred and whatever dollars to go see a
Mm.
non-Christian event, and
Yeah.
whether it's to go see a play, and I'm not saying it's a bad event. I'm just saying to see something that may be more mainstream, whether it's a play or whether it is a concert with a different artist, a mainstream artist. But people will put more value in that, and the reason for that is because they're not paying for that from so much the artist as they are paying for the full experience.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the full experience in a theater, the full experience in a concert does involve the lights, the sound, the
Hmm.
people,
Hmm.
The smell,
the dance
the sweaty
routines.
people jumping up and down and having fun.
Well, yeah. And the mic
But
headphones falling off.
yeah, but it does involve the experience, and that is something that we have seen
Hmm.
in a
Yes.
church setting. Most churches are gun shy about doing this because they feel
Hmm.
that it gets too performance oriented, and they lose the connection with why are you doing this? Is this not for God? And
Right.
realistically, what we are doing is for glorifying God. And this is how we're doing it. We feel we are gathering the army of God, which begins with the music, begins with the
Yeah.
singers, begins with the instrumentalists. We are mobilizing them, and we are saying,
Preach it,
come
sister.
into the camp. Come into the camp and start using your gifts. Start getting your practice in right now, because there is a
Yes.
spiritual war that's out there. And we
Hmm.
need
Hmm.
your voices. We need your talent.
Yes.
And you need to be getting up and doing that here now in this particular setting, not going out there in
Amen.
the mainstream or going where else where it seems attractive, but it's also a trap, right?
Right.
It's a trap,
Amen.
right?
Yeah.
We're bringing you into an environment where you're going to be surrounded by other believers, other people who are going to lift you up. I was going to say physically, but they're going to lift you up emotionally. They're going to
That's a
lift
mosh
you
pit.
up. Yeah.
That's that may happen. That may happen one day.
but they're going to lift you up like
Yeah.
spiritually. I mean, think about that. You're coming into like I because I was running around, I didn't see it, but imagine this coming into uh, an environment where you're going to meet different artists. You all have different styles of music, but you have one thing in common. You all use your giftings for the glory of God. You may
Hmm.
use it in a rap form, you may use it in a rock form, you may use it in a folk form, you may use it in a singer-songwriter form, you may use it in a rhythm and blues form. But whatever form it is, you're using what you have for the glory of God. And
Yeah.
and imagine being in the green room, or the room that's away from the main from the audience, and you're getting ready to prepare, and all of you are in the room saying, hey, you know what, let's pray together. Let's pray that when like, let's pray for one another when we're singing this song, or when this artist is singing, we want to lift that brother up or that sister up in their ministry. Yeah, you're doing it in a way that I can't do it, but that's okay.
Hmm.
We got the same goal. It's like people in an army. Someone has a sickle, someone else has a gun. Each one uses it very skillfully, very differently, but it does the same, well, not does the same thing, but it could do the same thing. It can accomplish a similar goal, just in a different way. And
Right.
and I honestly believe that what we are doing, we're not doing it for our glory. Having the lights, having the sound, having this. Hey, I mean, God had lights and sound too. Guess what? The sound was let there be, and he said, let there be light. And there was. It was a big spotlight known as the sun. Okay. And then he had other lights. There was stars, there was moon, there was can I go on? you know,
You
then when
you're
he had
preaching it, sister. I'm good.
you know, you know, and when Jesus was on this earth, he may not have had a Danley sound system, but he had the Mount Carmel. He had all the different mountains that he used to amplify his voice. He knew the
Yeah.
science behind amplification. He was no dummy.
Absolutely.
Of course he's not. He's God,
Yep.
He
right?
created it.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
he created it. It's just daily systems and all that wasn't made yet, right? So,
Yeah.
so I look at all that and go, this is not wrong. Like, and some people may look at what we're doing and say that it's wrong, but it's not wrong. We're just using what has been given to us for the use that, for God. We're taking back what the enemy would say is his, and we're
stolen.
taking
Yeah,
it back for God.
Yeah.
We're
Amen.
taking it back
Amen.
for him. And, if you are an artist, if you are a producer, if you are whatever you are, whatever your talent is, whatever you do, if you're in hospitality, I need help. If you are, whatever
true.
you do.
any little part you can contribute to what we do is a blessing. Amazing. Can I just tag on to that? Like, I want to say that as you can tell, Cheryle's really passionate about this. But then so is Darryl, and so am I. It's just we have different roles and with different things that we do. And I want you to understand that the four core parts about what we're all about is unity, community, mentorship, and talent growth. And that unity and community is what we're really trying to build with these events. And we want to really take this opportunity for you to be part of what we do in so many ways by joining what we do. GMIHub.ca. Please go visit our website and go on to contact us and let us know more about you. Be a part of our community. We want to help grow, really want to help grow. And the GMIHub online YouTube experience, it really, really needs you guys to step up and follow us and subscribe. Really do. Because with your subscription or with your helping us do what we do, we can do more. And so can you imagine if we actually did something like really monumental? It would turn the whole music industry in Canada around. And I believe you and us together can make that happen. And the events we put together are just one part of what we do, because outside of that, we do this broadcast we're doing right now. We also have compilation CDs or projects, music projects we've been putting together for the last 3 years. We've got one more this year. It's Christmas, Family Christmas Volume 4. Your submissions of your Christmas songs will go in, and you could potentially be on this project. And it's really easy, gmihub.ca. Submit your song in there. Make it happen today. If you're a singer-songwriter, there's no excuse for you to not even try this. Really, if you don't get on the CD, there's so many other things that we can do to help you as an artist. We have people who have been guests, panelists on our videos who can contribute to that journey that you're going on, really help you. No jokes. We want to really help you. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for even your commitment and time, except for what you want to commit to what you're doing. If you commit it to what you're doing, we want to be there with you and make that journey a successful journey. So again, I'm passionate. Cheryl's passionate, and Darryl's also passionate. So we just want you to know that you're not alone. Okay, so check us out. GMIHub has got so many platforms that we're involved with, and Darryl's trying to let me know about the playlist. This is really, really cool. We've got an opportunity here to put a playlist together with your songs. So you have to let us know your songs. Hopefully you're on Spotify, because then we can get you on our Spotify playlist. But we also doing a YouTube playlist as well. So if you've got a video somewhere with your music that highlights what you do, let us know. Tell us you want to be part of our playlist on YouTube. We would love to partner with you. So gmihub.ca. And what can I say except for please consider that, prayerfully consider us working with you and help you to promote what you're doing. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's like we've been an hour and 10 minutes or so. And so we got the Young Artist Talent Showcase coming up. The next one is June. We don't have a date for that yet, but it's 2013 is coming up. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be so cool. It's the 5th week, I think, of that month, right? So what that date would fall on, I'm not
Actually,
sure.
that one is not.
That one's not. Well, then I'm lying. Sorry.
The artist one is artist, more of a, we don't even want to call it talent show. But it's geared for the young artists to do something. So we'll do a competition is probably the better way to put it right now. Just letting people know, get ready for that. And then May 29th, May 29th is the next big
Artist showcase.
big one. This is the next artist showcase.
Wow, it's going to be great. And you guys put it on your calendar, set that date aside, May 29th, be there in person, because there's no better way to experience it. 3434 Cawthra Road in Mississauga City Baptist Church. 3434 Cawthra Road, Mississauga. It's a really great venue. We've been really blessed to have them partner with us, and we want you to be there and join us in that event. So anyways, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. God bless you, and join us next week. Next week we're going to be on again, aren't we, Cheryle? What are we doing next week?
We are, and we are very excited. We are actually going to have representatives from Lyric Find that's going to talk to us about the benefits of monetizing your lyrics, how to basically make money with your lyrics. So you'd want to tune into that. So
very cool.
We're excited about that.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next week, and God bless you. And thanks from the GMIHub for being with us.
Indeed.